Welcome back everyone to our channel. In this volatile economic world, have you ever wondered why the economy is growing so strongly at times? Everyone is happy then, fall into recession, unemployment rises, and things get tough. That is the manifestation of a very important concept, the economic cycle. Today, we will peel together what the economic cycle is and how it works, and especially what are the underlying causes of the economic crises that shook the world. Let's get started. First, what is the business cycle? Imagine the economy like a person's breathing, sometimes inhaling with full force and sometimes exhaling slowly. The business cycle is the recurring fluctuations in economic activity over time, as measured by indicators such as gross domestic product or GDP. A typical economic cycle consists of four main phases. The first stage is growth or expansion. These are the best of times. Businesses are thriving, production is increasing, jobs are created, and people's incomes are also increasing. People are optimistic. Spending money and investment is also active, like a tree growing strong in the sunlight. But when growth reaches its peak, we enter the second phase. Peak. T-I-N-N Kin T-O-T-N-G-M-C Kongsu T-T-I-I. Unemployment is very low. Inflation is starting to show signs of rising as demand exceeds supply. Unemployment is very low. Inflation is starting to show signs of rising as demand exceeds supply. After peaking, the economy enters the third phase, the one that no one wants, recession. Economic activity began to slow down. Sales fell. Companies had to cut production, leading to layoffs and rising unemployment. Consumers become pessimistic and tighten spending. Investments were also delayed. And finally, when the recession reaches its lowest point, we have the trough phase. This is the most difficult point of the cycle. Unemployment is high, production is stagnant. However, it is at the bottom that the seeds of recovery begin to grow. Low inflation. Interest rates are often adjusted down to stimulate the economy, creating conditions for a new growth cycle to begin. Just like that, the four stages of growth, peak, recession, bottom continuously repeat, forming a cycle with no endpoint. The length and intensity of each cycle may vary, but the general law of motion remains unchanged. So the big question is, why does the economy have such a cycle? And what causes devastating economic crises? Let's find out the main causes right after. One of the core causes comes from changes in aggregate demand, that is, total spending on goods and services in the economy. When consumers, businesses, and governments are optimistic, they increase spending and investment, pushing the economy to grow. Conversely, when there is bad news or widespread pessimism, people will tighten their belts, cut spending, causing aggregate demand to fall and the economy to fall into recession. Next is the role of monetary and fiscal policies. Central banks can influence the economic cycle through interest rate adjustments. When interest rates are low, borrowing money for investment and consumption becomes easier, stimulating economic growth. But if interest rates rise too quickly to curb inflation, it could choke off economic activity and cause a recession. Similarly, government fiscal policies such as public spending and taxation also have a strong impact on this cycle. One factor that cannot be ignored is technological innovation. However, when one technology wave has saturated, growth may slow until a new breakthrough appears. And of course, we have to talk about external shocks. It could be a war, a global pandemic like we have experienced, or a sudden change in the price of essential commodities like oil. These unexpected events can disrupt supply chains, drastically change consumer and business behavior, and push the economy from a stable state to a crisis very quickly. Finally, the most profound and dangerous cause is the asset bubble and excessive speculation. When the price of an asset such as real estate or stocks increases irrationally, not based on real value, but only on the belief that it will increase further, a bubble will form. People rush to borrow money to speculate, but when the bubble bursts, asset prices collapse. Debts become a huge burden. The banking system can collapse, dragging the whole economy into a serious crisis. The global financial crisis of 2008 is a typical example of this scenario. Herd mentality also plays an important role. When we see people around us making easy money from speculation, we tend to jump into for fear of missing out. Conversely, when a few people start to sell, panic can spread like wildfire, creating a huge wave of selling and collapsing the market. Understanding the economic cycle is not about being afraid, but about being better prepared. For policymakers, understanding the cycle helps them make timely decisions to smooth extreme fluctuations, such as stimulating the economy during recessions and controlling inflation when the economy overheats. For investors and businesses, knowing which stage of the cycle they are in will help them make smarter business and investment decisions. For example, during a recession, it may be wise to focus on cost management and capital preservation, while during a growth phase, it is wise to expand investments. For each of us as individuals, understanding the economic cycle helps us manage our personal finances more intelligently. We will know when to be cautious in spending, when to build an emergency fund, and have a longer-term view of accumulating assets instead of panicking about short-term market fluctuations. Thus, the economic cycle is an inevitable part of the market economy. It's like 4 seasons in a year. There is a thriving spring, a vibrant summer, a gloomy autumn, and a cold winter. Instead of fighting it, let's learn to understand and adapt to it. Hopefully, through today's video, you have a clearer and more general view of the economic cycle as well as the causes of crisis. This knowledge is not just dry theory, but also a useful tool to help us navigate better in our own financial life. Thank you for taking the time to watch. If you find this video useful, don't forget to click the like button, share it with your friends and relatives, and especially click the channel subscription button as well as the notification bell so you don't miss our next interesting knowledge videos. Goodbye and see you again.